Hey Levi,
Yes?
I just added the user as developer and he still cannot work on the issue. Can you help me about the permissions?
Ooh, yes, that's a tricky one, but I think I can explain it to you during a coffee break.
Okay, let's go.
Let's overview permissions in Jira. This part of the implementation might seem weird at first, but you will realize just how much flexibility they provide when you get the concept. The levels of permissions are the following. The first one is application access. You need to be granted application access, which will enable you to log in and your user will be charged for a license. The second one is global permissions. These apply to applications as a whole, not to individual projects. For example, whether users can see the other users in the application. A third is project permissions. Organized into permission schemes, these apply to projects, for example, who can see the project's issues, create, edit, and assign them. While project admins can assign users to a project, they can't customize the permission schemes. There are a lot of project-level permissions you can set to control what users can do within a project. And first is the issue security permission. It is organized into security schemes. These allow the visibility of individual issues to be adjusted. In Jira, the permissions have to be evaluated together. Application access is a precondition in most cases, as many of the actions require the user's login.
Tell me more about project permissions for now.
Project roles are one of the unique settings in Jira. A Jira application project role is a flexible way to associate users and/or groups with a particular project. Unlike groups, which have the same membership through the Jira application, project roles have specific membership for each project, and users may play different roles in different projects. This setting is globally managed, so when you add a new project role such as tester, it will be available in every project. What does the project role tester mean, you might ask? Well, a project role itself does not mean anything. We could call this role superheroes or QA team. It will still mean nothing. It is because the project role are evaluated together with permission scheme in every project.
Okay, but what's a permission scheme?
Permission schemes contain about 36 well-described preset permissions, which can be granted to many actors. For example, there are permissions like browse project, create issue, edit issue, work on issue. It is the ability to add a work log, transition issue, and so on. Admins can set these permissions for many different types of actors. A few examples. Application access. It is any logged in user or anyone who is licensed. Single user, group. This can be synchronized from LDAP. Reporter, the project lead. Group custom field value. It is similar to having multiple assignees. And the project role.
So, how are the permissions evaluated in the projects?
As every issue is part of exactly one project, and every project has exactly one permission scheme assigned to it, every project and issue's permission is clearly described by exactly one permission scheme. To use project roles to assign permissions, you need to make a few steps. First, as a Jira admin, you need to create a new project role or use an existing one to assign permissions to it in the permission schemes and then assign the permission scheme to the appropriate projects. And then, as a project admin, you need to add users or groups to the project role in your project to assign permissions to them.
Anything else affecting the permissions?
There is an issue security scheme that can be useful in rare cases where some issues should be visible for a group of people but not to others. By default, this scheme is not assigned to the project, but when using issue security schemes, you have to set the security level for each issue.
Is there an easy way to overview project permissions?
A permission helper is implemented in Jira, where you can validate issue level and project level permissions by entering a user and an issue key. Sadly, this requires Jira administrator permission. There are also multiple apps that unfold project roles. Glass project documentation for Jira helps you to browse project role members, including group members, and permission schemes without the need of administrator access. The app can provide a summary of who is in the project and what permissions you own, and you have access to this information in your projects.
What are the best practices for permissions?
Use project roles in your projects and prefer them in the administration schemes to groups or individuals. Project roles allow your project admins to assign permissions to groups and users in their projects, instead of requesting Jira admins to add users to groups or change permission schemes. Create a few company-level permission schemes with generalized project roles, such as auditor, tester, developer, or reader. The roles may have similar permissions in each permission scheme, but the members of the role can be different in each project. This is all we could fill into a coffee break. Hope you enjoyed it and it cleared things up. We prepared lots of valuable content for you, find them via the link in the description below. And as always, don't be afraid to ask in the comments. See you in the next video.